Hi, I'm your host, Ron Knight.
And I'm John Williams III, co-host of the show.
Join us for the Entertainment First Podcast every week. It's all about the music and more. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to the Entertainment First Podcast. And today, that's right, where it's all about the music and more. And today, I have a very special guest with me today. Normally, he's sitting in the seat next to me. But I felt that, he should have his say on this program because he is involved in some other things outside of the program that we have. And I thought they need to be expressed by the one and only Mr. John E. Williams.
Oh, thank you very much, Ron. It's nice to be here on this side of the seat instead of over there.
Yeah, well, it's temporary, man. You got to get your butt back in that seat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right. But today, John and I are going to be talking about a few of the things that he's involved with, within and without this organization. And I just want to give accolades to the Val TV network, the I Win network, and the We Win network, all encompassed into one for the Entertainment First Podcast Hour. So right now, John, I got a few questions that I sat down and I wrote out because I wanted to make sure that I was on point.
Okay.
And so the first one I wanted to ask you about is you used to be a DJ on the radio. Am I right?
Yeah, I was. I was a DJ at the age of 16 years old in San Francisco, and was the second youngest DJ in the country at the time. I did R&B music as well as this youngest kid was in Nashville doing country music, and it was great. When I doing old school R&B, one of my number one fans, I met the guy twice, was Huey P. Newton.
Oh, you're telling on yourself now.
Telling on yourself. Oh, yeah.
So I'm assuming you did some protesting at that time too as well, right?
No. I was being at the house, being mellow.
So in other words, the FBI is not looking for you.
No.
I'm only joking.
The military is.
You also manage bands.
Yeah.
You also had a record label.
Yes.
As well as you toured behind the scenes with a lot of major bands too as well, right?
Yeah, I did. I toured behind the scenes with rock and roll bands and R&B groups, and with the record label, it was great. It was called ARD Records at the time. Mm-hmm. There is a ARD Records now in Australia, believe it or not. Yeah, okay. But we had Tony Dupuis and Infinity. And I ran the label. It was my label, mm-hmm. Where we had him in the charts in BRE, which was Black Radio Exclusive Magazine, mm-hmm. Billboard, everything in the top 15. And we toured with Spyro Gyra, Peace Stream, Kenny G. And Tony won Drummer Magazine Award of the Year in Louisiana. Mm. And it was great.
So, and now I'm going to jump to this because I want to know, I know you've been talking about it quite often. You're working on a project right now, currently, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
And can you tell us a little bit about that project?
Well, there's a few of them, but the one I've had for a long time, which I'm starting to get back into, it's called Class with Broadway. Mm-hmm. And what Class with Broadway is to help educate kids about theater and keeping the arts in the schools.
Okay. How did you get involved in that?
Well, it was interesting. I was out on a tour. It was Ice Cube, Coolio, Da Brat, Faith, Monica, Soul Frio, 69 Boys, 95 South, Wu-Tang Clan, Ice-T, Toto, and Faith Evans on one tour. I ran it for the promoter. I wasn't the production manager. I overseed everything. Mm-hmm. And we happened to cancel San Diego date out, and so I flew back home to San Francisco before we did our LA date. And I brought my assistant with me, and what happened was, being back home in San Fran, I was at Phantom of the Opera. I said, what's this all about? I've never seen a Broadway musical. Mm-hmm. Went to see it. And literally, on the flight back to LA from San, it's like, how did they do this? How did they do that? And it really caught my attention on just not the stage designs, but everything else, how it was performed. And that's what got me really interested. It's like, why didn't I get into this younger?
Right, okay. Now, you also perform some of those things. I mean, I've seen you perform, I think it was Jekyll and Hyde, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Jekyll and Hyde? Tell us a little bit about the character of Jekyll and Hyde, because you had to transform yourself into Jekyll and Hyde.
I don't know about him. He's really good. Oh, wait a second, that was the other side of me. Jekyll and Hyde's good, you know, it's just to go from one character to another and making sure you're doing it right. Of course, you're on stage.
Right.
But it's really good, you know, making the scenes, like you've seen me when I turned around, how that, I scared you, I heard.
Yeah.
You know, but it's really good doing stuff like that. And the good part is seeing the audience loving it. You know, especially when you do something.
Yeah.
And that's really, really good.
Now, you, besides working on Jekyll and Hyde, you have another project, I think, that expands from that, from musical theater. And would you tell us a little bit about what you're doing? You mentioned to me you were doing something with the schools.
Right. Well, Class with Broadway, what it is, because my idea of saying, why didn't I get into this earlier when I flew back to LA, saw a few more musical theaters, and my project was like, wow, these kids, I'm seeing the kids these days, a lot of schools don't have the arts no more.
Right.
And they're slowly bringing it down to a very minimal. And it's like, wow. And we need to open the eyes to the kids to the arts and keeping the arts in the schools.
Right.
And the thing is, I know there's some kids, and I hate to say, there's kids that say, they'll tell their friends, I went to a musical, and their kids their friend may say, ew, you did what? And make them feel bad. And what will that do in the long run to the musical theater?
Right. Now, you, what was your vision when you sat down to think about this program that you were going to put together? What was your vision?
Well, my vision is, what will we do to open up the eyes of the kids to musical theaters so that we could keep the arts in the schools, as well as keeping the art of people going into the musical theaters. Because when I've gone to the musical theaters and see some shows, it's usually 35 plus, 40 plus. Not younger people coming in, unless if they're with their parents, or
Right.
you know, they're young adults with their parents, or maybe once in a while with their other half or friend.
Sure.
But it's like, if we don't do something, there won't be no more theater, there won't be no more arts, and we have to do something. So what I did was, with my vision, I put 4 musicals into one show. Even with a 20-minute intermission, 15-minute intermission, it is 20 minutes, but we could go 15.
Right.
The show is exactly 2 hours and 53 minutes to the T. Meaning the show starts at 10, it's going to end at 10:53, or if it starts at noontime or 1 o'clock in the daytime for a Wednesday matinee or Saturday or Sunday matinee,
Sure.
it's going until 3:30. And my vision is putting these 4 musicals together, and when you go from one musical to the next, it flows,
No break. No break.
no
in
break,
between.
and hardly no stage change at all. Because I visioned each show like that, and when it ends, then we go into Act 2. You hear the beginning before the curtains open, highlighting some of the stuff from Act 1, and then the curtain opens, goes in Act 2,
Right.
and ends. And the thing about it is that, what we need to do on this is put these shows together, get them out on the road, and give tickets to the students across America. And I could explain more of that if you
Sure.
like to.
My next question to you was, I was going to ask you, what do you think is the long-term benefit?
But the long-term benefit, I'll explain my whole thing, is that one, We would give 100 tickets away per show per day to a local high school. What we're looking at is starting in September in Minneapolis and in May in DC. Anything northeast of St. Louis, including Toronto, we will give 100 tickets away per show per day to the 10th graders. We break for summer and Christmas like the kids do. Mm-hmm. We'll start up in Charlotte, North Carolina, again in September, go down to Kravitz Center in West Palm Beach, go up to Salt Lake City, again September to May, 11th graders.
So you plan on giving each one of the grades at certain times free tickets?
Right. And then on the last part, be in Vegas, Las Vegas here, Phoenix, San Diego, up Highway 5 to Vancouver, and in San Francisco, 12th graders, again, September, May. Meaning, when we're done, everyone's 12th graders. And we've created a new audience of theater goers. Mm. But there's a big benefit for the schools, too.
And what is that benefit for the schools?
The benefit is we would give out X amount of dollars per, we're giving tickets out to students, mm-hmm. but we will give back X amount of dollars per student that comes to our show toward the school district to continue the arts. In the long run, out of the 34 cities, I think it is, total, we would be giving back over $35 million to school districts across America, including Toronto and Vancouver, to continue the arts.
Very, very good. If your project is successful, let's just say it's successful, how can I ask this? What would you say about the future of theater based on your project?
Well, the thing is that, the theater, it will bring the younger generation in, which is needed, mm-hmm. Because the age limit, the age that's been going theater these days. But what's more successful about it is that the schools will keep the arts open, but we will, if that does good in the first 3 years, then we will continue to do it every 3 years around the whole U.S. and Canada and maybe other places in order to open the eyes to the kids about theater mm-hmm. and everything else, which is very important.
And let me ask you something. If people are interested in your program, where can you be reached?
Well, we do have a classwithbroadway.org, which is our website, and you could either go there to see our mailing address. Our office number is there too.
And what is it again?
It's a classwithbroadway.org.
.org?
And one last thing I have to say about this mm-hmm. is what's good is wherever there's a school of the arts, imagine this as you as a parent, okay? Out there, you as a parent, imagine this, is that wherever there's a school of the arts, we will have those students participate with our musical. Meaning, they will walk down the aisles, they're not on stage, but they'll walk down the center of the aisles, singing to the chorus, to the music. And when they're done with that chorus, and the audience applauds, could you imagine what is going through those kids' hearts and minds? They will be so ecstatic about continuing to do it. And imagine how the parents are going to feel about it, seeing their kid walking down, singing to one of the musicals. Right. And it's going to give the kids drive to go even more.
So where can they contact you again?
It's called aclasswithbroadway.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to the one and only Mr. John E. Williams. He'll be appearing on heartbeatradio.live. Heartbeatradio.live. Catch him on it. He's got a lot of good music to be played. All right. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to the Entertainmentfirst Podcast, a place where it's all about the music and more.